One.
Just kidding.
So anyway, Eric, call us when you feel hungry, okay?
Sometimes I tell people that.
Tell us when you're still hungry, okay? If you take a nap, okay? Bye. So it's about 175 degrees here. Well, it actually isn't. I think it's 102. And we're at Chris's studio, the Nest Recorders. I think it was one of the very, very first interviews and studio tours we ever did. So I'm very, very excited to come back here again. Is it open? Chris.
Hey.
How are you?
Nice to see you.
Good to be seen.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's only about 900 degrees outside.
Yeah, close the door. We're melting.
Wow, you've really... Did you have this before?
This was here before, and sadly, I'm just about to renovate it. This was the last thing, you know, of course, the lounge was the last thing we decided to work on, so...
That's great, though.
We're about to wallpaper. It's going to be beautiful. My wife's...
I like the exposed beams, though.
Yeah, my wife's designing something for here, so we were going to try to, you know, do it beforehand, but that never works out.
Oh, no, it's gorgeous.
But come back again. We'll come back in just for a lounge tour.
A lounge tour, yeah, we'll do it. The third one.
You can do a series of lounge tours.
Did you have the ceiling like this before?
This was here before, yeah, exactly.
I feel like the stories I remember from the first time were like finding rats in walls when you were building it and stuff like that.
Pigeons.
Pigeons.
Yeah.
You were telling us all these stories.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, pigeon fans. Yeah, the other side of the studio, where there's two other studios, that I would come in here when I first found the space, and there was pigeons walking around, and the doors would be closed up, and I'm like, how are they getting in here? This is crazy. And they were living in the ceiling over there.
Oh, wow.
Which is why we call it the nest, you know. That's where the nest comes from.
There you go. Did you have that piano before?
This was here before. There was another Steinway here for a while, a Steinway B, but that belongs to them. They collected it. It was...
What model Steinway is this?
I can't remember if it's A or an O. I get confused between the models. I'm pretty sure it's an A, but I'm actually not certain what the difference between an A or O is. They're very similar.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, 100 years old.
100?
Yeah.
Almost as old as Eric. Hey, boom,
hey.
Almost. Was that here before? No.
That was not here.
What is it? I mean, I know it's an organ, but...
It's a pipe organ. This was probably, like, funny enough, a practice organ.
Oh, wow, really?
Organists have to practice too, guys. But no, this belonged to John Bryan. When he had come here for some stuff, one of my other partners, Scotty, he works on pipe organs. So John was trying to downsize a warehouse of equipment and donated it. So
donated?
As well as that kettle drum. He brought a few things. John's
gorgeous.
got a lot of gear. But it's pretty cool, yeah. Not many pipe organs that you can, you know, play in a studio.
No.
There's a few though.
How do you mic a pipe organ? Do you just ambient mic it? Accent mic it?
I've done both. The top opens up.
Yeah.
So I've put like mics above it. Sometimes I have like a binaural head. Sometimes I'll put it up there.
Nice.
But the sound does develop further as well.
So
you kind of
get both.
Yeah, you need both. Yeah. You can get more mechanic kind of sounds, you know, of like the things changing or whatever, if you like that sort of sound, but really the sound's developing further.
All right, dumb question.
Yeah.
It's electric.
Yeah, there's an air compressor.
Okay.
And basically the air compressor is blowing air at all times. And when you push a note down, there's an electronic relay that opens up a magnetic valve.
Right.
That has a piece of leather on it that opens up and allows the air to pass through whatever, you know, reed that you've selected. So if you put the flutes on, this note only goes over to the relay system for the flutes, and whatever note you're playing opens up.
Have you acquired more amps as well? It feels
Probably
like you have more
some
amps.
have come and some have gone. This one's new. This is pretty cool. I love this thing actually.
Ampro.
This is a old phono record player amp that my friend Kai converted for me. He put like a nice selection in there. put a power cord on it. Look at this transformer, massive. They don't make transformers like they used to.
So what was that? Was that a speaker cab or something, and he converted it into it?
Yeah, like you would plug this into your record player, and this was, it was looking for a phono input though, and he converted it for a guitar impedance, and then also put this mic on here, mic input, and it sounds like a Fender Tweed. This thing's insane, actually. It just cranks.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, and it's great. Yeah, just a great sound. I mean, the guts are good,
Yeah, incredible.
It's got a nice speaker in it. This is probably new. This is like, you've seen the Silvertone amps, but this is the smaller version of it.
Yeah.
Was that a 10 in there probably?
10 or even an 8. It's hard to tell.
Good practice amp.
Yeah.
Actually. But yeah, that thing's cool. I used to have the bigger one, which had the separate head.
Yeah.
I
remember those well, yeah.
Those are dope. I love those, actually.
And there's the acoustic. Did you have that before?
This was probably here before. I don't use this thing a lot, actually. I don't know why. I tend to use guitar amps for bass.
Huh, because you want more grit and stuff.
Yeah, more neck sound.
Yeah.
I don't need more low end,
Yeah.
Usually I'm like confused with which low end to use,
Right.
With the amp. So like in that closet, I'll put like a deluxe or something and put a little spring reverb on it if I can sneak it in, Like mid-session, is there spring reverb on the bass?
You're like, no.
Maybe.
No, you're imagining it. Yeah.
One of the channels.
You got JCM 2000 there.
Yep. Never use that. I was just talking about it with my friend. I'm like, I traded this for someone who couldn't finish paying for some mixing.
Right.
And I've used it once.
Oh.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't.
Orange Rocker 30.
Yeah, this thing's cool. Use that a lot. This is a Leslie cabinet, but it doesn't have the spinning top rotor. I forget the model. It's like 221, or I forgot what the model is for this. But it was wired for this Hammond, and then when I bought the proper Leslie, the 122, I swapped this thing out. But you can still use this as like a guitar amp. Plug a guitar head into it.
Great.
And so I thought, might as well keep it.
It's a beautiful looking piece of furniture.
Yeah, it looks
gorgeous
cool.
wood. Yeah.
Holds the orange head. And then the Hammond. I had a different Hammond here, but this one's new actually, new old stock. But I just added this, which I love. Is the effects return loop, which we did end up using in the mix tutorial that we're going to go over or whatever. And
amazing.
You get to hear it. This is my new favorite thing actually, is running stuff through the Leslie.
Oh wow!
Not only just for the Leslie, but this vibrato section.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how the mechanics work for a Hammond vibrato, except I know it's specific and unique to the Hammond.
Yeah.
And there's no really other vibrato like it.
Yep.
And it sounds incredible. So that's also why I just hooked this little reamp box up to it, and I'll put guitar pedals also in line here. That's new. This is a similar thing. This is a projector.
Okay.
Like some people make them really nice and sell them for a lot of money.
Right.
That's not this one. This is as simple as it gets, and it sounds great. I think my friend, same guy, Kai, had modified this, put an instrument connector in there, and then I think he pulled a couple components out.
Oh, okay.
Is what makes it then the proper impedance for guitar.
Oh, okay.
Took a tube out and took probably some capacitors out or something.
Amazing. I love the look of it.
Yeah, this thing's rocking. What's interesting about this is you get a very different transient response out of this amp than another guitar amp. Like the transients are very sharp.
Okay.
I'm not sure why, how it's doing that, but if you need like
something to cut through a very dense mix.
Yeah, like a staccato, like palm muting kind of thing, or
Yeah.
It really almost acts more like a horn instrument would or something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We should model this.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. We should come around and model your amps.
Both of these things just crank, they really distort coolly.
I love your drum setup.
That's a new drum kit since you've been here for sure. This is an old Slingerland.
This is your own kit?
Yep.
Oh, fantastic.
Great kit.
Absolutely superb. The Coles, is it the same setup you used on the course?
Yeah, pretty much the same actually.
It's an Acrolite on for the snare?
That's what this is now. I don't know what the drummer ended up using. I think he brought his own snare. But he put the snare on the floor tom.
Right.
But yeah, similar setup. I have kind of like mic'd this in a way where it can get, several different drum sounds from one.
Got the JZ mic there.
JZ Vintage 11, great microphone.
Yeah, those are fantastic. And that's the, what do they call that? The versed mic, some people call it. I know Simon Phillips puts one in there, but he does a 57.
Oh, really? What do they call it?
Versed, it means like sausage.
A lot of people point them this way though, right? Or put it like the diaphragm facing the snare or...
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
How did you blend your overheads together with the two Coles and with, what's that in the middle?
This is a Flea 47.
Nice.
This is kind of like a kit mic. These end up being more cymbal mics here.
But softer and less painful because of the ribbons.
Those are panned out. This is usually down the middle. Also, I don't always use them together.
Right.
Sometimes I'll just use this. Sometimes I'll just use these.
Right.
Generally, what's good about the 47 with the Coles is the Coles are so dark that if you're looking for more top end or something, you push the 47 up,
Lovely.
Which is also, the combination of the snare mics and this it's a big...
Is that a 57 on a 451?
KM84.
KM84, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, but that'd be fine too. For
Biodynamic, is it M88? Is that what they say?
M88, yeah. That's it. What's crazy about these is the rejection on them. I was recording this the other day and I thought the tom mic was off.
Wow.
Until I hit it. It was like...
It's good news.
Yeah, I was like, oh shoot, the rack tom mic's not tracking. What's going on? I'm like, can you hit the rack tom? I'm like, oh wow, that's insane. Yeah,
I don't know what it is. I'm guilty of everything I'm about to say. I'm guilty of. I forget. In Europe, everybody uses biodynamic microphones.
Yeah.
Come here, apart from the M160, which a lot of people know about. People forget that these are fantastic
They're great.
microphones.
This was what I used on Rufus's voice for many years live.
Oh wow!
And I use it a lot in here when I'm tracking either scratch. It's one I put it on talkback mics in here just because I'm trying to keep drum leakage or just ambience down in the talkback channel. But if I'm tracking like a live vocal in the room, always the M88. Just because I've not heard a better mic for rejection. That also sounds great.
Great.
Terrible handling noise though.
Really?
That's the downside.
Oh wow.
I don't know why. I have found that actually hypercardioid mics tend to have more handling noise.
Is it low end or is it what
low end? You just hear this like.
Right. But you can high pass that out.
You can high pass it out, yeah.
Right.
It's why I switched to a different mic for Rufus live, at least, was...
Because you wanted the low end in his vocal.
It was fine when he was sitting, playing piano or standing guitar, but then when we're doing like orchestra shows where he was holding the mic, it was like, oh, this is a disaster. This can't be the mic for this,
Oh, it's a shame.
Yeah, so they have their purposes, but yeah.
Wasn't that the... Phil Collins mic, yeah.
Yeah, all the old school roadies, anytime I'd bust one of these out, they'd be like, oh, an M88. All right, yeah, they love you already just because of the microphone choice you pulled out.
Nice. It's interesting to see the Audix on there, which I know is a fantastic kick drum mic. That's a D6, presumably. Yeah. But I always think of it being a metal kick drum mic because it's so hyped.
It's so funny. A lot of people hate that mic.
Oh, I don't hate it. Yeah. I know that you do a lot of like jazz or at least music that's more organic in nature.
Yeah, that's maybe EQ built into the mic. Well, yeah. What's interesting is that I'm using that as more of like almost like a sub kick.
Oh, okay.
Where it's really only good getting the low end, and it has a great low end response.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm actually usually adding with the voice of God even more low end to just that mic.
Wow.
So when you hear that in the tracking, it's serving the role for the sub.
Do you also think that because it is a little bit scoopy, but you don't have a hole in the kick, that it's the balance?
It does help, yeah. For sure.
That would make sense.
Like other mics can feel like a little more muddy.
Right.
Like the front head can, with the wrong mic can feel very muddy quickly,
Yeah, agreed.
So I don't know. I just had it and I put it there.
No, I'm impressed. That's cool.
But a lot of people hate it. They're like,
no,
absolutely no D6s. And I'm like,
No, that's silly because we actually did something with our friend Christian Kohler, who's a metal producer, and he's just like, I need a D6. It's like that's the sound of.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, if you need that EQ built into it, why not use it? You know, for me, it's better in the mic if it's the right frequencies that you like. You know.
Totally. And I see you got a D112, which would be another kick drum mic on a floor tom, which I used to do in the UK years ago. Now you're reminding me.
I love that. Done deal.
Yeah.
Just sounds great.
Yeah. We put those on bass amps as well. And then I remember doing guitar tracks with a D112 when you wanted to just have a little bit more.
What about vocals? You ever had someone sing into it?
I want to say yes, but I can't remember ever doing it.
Probably like pretty cool for like distorted vocals or you know, something like that.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love it on that. Also great cymbal rejection if you know if that is.
Oh, what do we have on the hat? Is that the blue?
That's a blue. I'm trying to find. I think that's what I'm going to use that mic for now. I never really know what to do with that thing.
What is it?
Blue baby bottle.
Baby bottle. Okay.
It was like one of those situations where I bought it like one of my first, like, you know, trying to find a vocal mic when I was just starting out. And I was like, I got to buy a condenser and a blue, you know, like, and I got it. And it has an interesting mid-range response, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. It can be great for a particular vocal, but it's not one of the ones that works for like everybody, you know?
Right.
But I've liked it on like acoustic guitar. I've really liked it on like hi-hat and other thing. I've used it on, actually it's a great snare mic because there's a little bump in the mid-range somewhat, at least to my ear, it sounds like there's a bump.
There was a period about maybe 15 years ago, everybody I knew had these mics.
Right.
You used to go, when you go to people's studios, they'd always have 2 or 3 of them.
And you know the history of the Jay-Z microphones versus the Blue?
Yeah, it's the same company, Yeah,
they've told me that this one, they would change this capsule out for me because these was a later model.
I love the JZ guys are fantastic.
Oh, they're
guys.
Cool, yeah. They're great.
Andrus.
Yeah, all their mics are great, all great guys.
While we're on mics, it's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, these were the first mics I got from them. They're, as you can see, they're BH1s, but they're early editions before I think they figured out their paint combination. I tape these in the piano a lot, so that's why.
I know, we were here last time, you had them taped in.
That's why the paint's gone.
As long as they sound good.
Yeah, these are like seriously one of my favorite piano mics. I've
Incredible.
tried so many different microphones and piano, and I love these. That's pretty much what I use them for solely at this point.
So did you have this custom 33 before? Because I remember...
Probably.
Because I've
had that a long time. Yeah, I must have. I love that amp. That's like a boutique kind of AC30. And sometimes you just need a boutique AC30.
And they make their own speakers, or do you think those are like WGS and they've just rebranded them or something?
I have no idea. It's like one of these...
It says WGS at the bottom.
Does it?
I remember this. We were talking about this before, weren't we? Like one of those kinds of amps that...
Solid state.
Yeah, that everybody's like, what's that? And then...
Actually, there's a great reverb tank on it, is what I think about. When I want like a classic Fender reverb tank sound, that's a great amp for that.
I seem to remember, maybe this was, I'm repeating myself from the last video, but I seem to remember being in a studio and using one of these for a clean arpeggio that just cut.
Right, yeah, exactly. There's nothing like a solid state clean sound. You know?
JC120.
Exactly, right in that vein. Those were both of these amps. One of them came from my friend Brian, but I don't know where the other one came from.
Nice little Fender collection.
These 3, they're all solid. Those are all solid state Fenders. That one's great.
Yeah.
Except I keep blowing the speaker.
Oh, you do?
Because they sound good cranked.
Yep. I have one of these that my friend Matt has in his studio, and he's had it for since I've lived in America, like 20 years. It's in England. I mean, I'm just envious. That's the Layla guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, cool.
In fact, so many albums.
I just found out what that song was about.
Oh, I don't know what it's about.
Well, he was like singing about...
Patty Harrison.
Yeah, Patty Harrison.
Boyd.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Look it up.
Well, that and the other one that he wrote was She Brushes Her Long Blonde Hair. It's late in the evening. Yeah, that's also about her.
And then they had Deluxes in the Closet. I was just using that as a bass amp, but you can see.
Oh, wow.
That's what I put.
Great.
M88.
I've seen 3. How many do you have?
I have 4.
You have 4.
Where's the 4th one?
Where is the 4th one, Chris?
We don't know. Somewhere.
So I know I asked you about this before, but tell us about this.
These are great. These are Altec 21B is the model, but AKA Coke bottle.
Wait, this is a Manny mic as well. Isn't this what Manny uses?
Really?
Yeah, you guys share that. Yeah.
Manny sounds like a cool guy.
I think you're gonna like Manny. Yeah.
Yeah, these are old from the 50s.
Beautiful.
This is such a simple mic. There's a capsule. I'm probably saying this wrong, but is it cathode or?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I trust you.
Anyways, there's a tube in here that has a negative and positive from the capsule that goes onto the physical tube.
Yeah.
You know, when I say tube, it's just like a metal conductor that's connected to a 6A U6 tube, which is the same as the Sony C37a.
Oh, wow.
Which is a rare tube for microphones. But super simple mic. That's the power supply.
Yeah.
It's got a big transformer in it. And I realized after I heard these mics that you don't need a lot of stuff in microphones, I think. Sometimes the super simple design is...
Right.
They're very massive sounding, they as small as they are. But I think they were designed for holding like this and not blocking your face.
Oh, yeah.
Because the pictures that come with the manual or whatever has like this, one has an opera singer where it's like out in front of her face, and the other one is someone kind of like on like a game show or something.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
We always joke, because Eric and I are these people, vidiots, because we actually are now vidiots because we're videoing.
Technically, yes.
But exactly. You know, when you're doing the session and somebody comes down to film it and they've got the singer and they're like, you know, it's looking good, but can you move that mic out of the singer's face?
Mic there?
Do you need it? Does it need to be in front of the singer?
Oh, man. Don't get me started.
I know. So no, I understand the logic of this.
Yeah, it's funny. Back in the day, also with speaking of the Sony mic, my understanding, the Sony mic was the response to the U67 to be a smaller microphone.
I never knew that.
I could be very wrong about the time, but
I like the idea of that.
Point being, people were competitive about making a microphone that wouldn't take up so much face real estate.
Right.
I guess I don't think people think about that now when they're making mics.
I don't think they do. And then you got some real cool looking mics over here. Starting off with whose C12 is that?
That's Flea 12.
Wow.
I got this after I did a record at Capitol a little while ago, and I've never really used C12s.
Wow.
Until I went there, and then look what happened. I bought a C12. These are great on piano. Actually, I would love one more. Send one over.
This is cool. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
I'd love 3 more.
Yeah.
And then AEA KU4.
That's so good.
Hypercardioid ribbon.
Wow.
This thing's great. Still, this I love on upright bass and cello. For sure, I love that. Also very good in front of the bass drum. I tried it on acoustic guitar the other day. Didn't love it. I don't know. Some people like it on vocals too. I tried it once and didn't love it and didn't try again. Another AEA N22. This is a great mic. This is like, my understanding, is similar version to the N8 microphone, but it deals with close proximity better.
Right.
So usually I'm using it on a guitar cabinet. I have tried it on an acoustic guitar, because of the off-axis rejection. So good. Man, all these AA mics. AEA RE88. This is great mic. Great room mic.
Is it stereo?
Stereo, yep.
If you're recording drums here, where would you put it in the room?
That one I would either do... Generally, I'm probably within 6 feet to 6 to 8 feet from the kit. And I like to put it up quite high, looking down at the kit.
Nice.
I did it yesterday. I had it in that room. I had a 4-piece horn section in there, all close mic'd, and I just had that up against the wall, and it sounds so good. Just that mic.
Amazing.
It's just it gets up so much low harmonic information that condensers don't do. So
right.
It's such a good complement to condenser microphones.
See the M160 we were talking about earlier?
M160. I need more of those too.
So this is your, with the exception of the C12, this is your ribbon mic area.
Sort of. There's more. This was just out from the sessions, and I was using these all on horns and stuff. I had this on saxophone. I used that on flugelhorn.
Wow.
With Sony, I used on Barry sax, and then I used the 44 on trombone.
Which Sony?
This Sony's in here, the C37a.
Ah. Oh, wow. How long have you had that?
I've had this about 5 years. My friend Sam Gindel, he's a saxophone player, showed up with it to the session. And I'd been looking for these, but I could never really find one that had a power supply, or they were like not working and there was a project, you know what I mean? And he brought it in, and it's like, I brought my own microphone. And I'm like, why is this guy bringing his own microphone?
Yeah.
And he pulled it out, and I was like, whoa, shit, where'd you get that thing? He's like, this is my horn mic. And I told him to call me if he ever sold it. And we made a record together, so we did a little trading for it. And man, this is such a special mic. I know this is a very special one, because they can all sound different. But an interesting story about this one is I took this to David Royer, because I was having a weird intermittent issue with it. It was like getting like almost like you pull a cable that has phantom on it, like huge like pop kind of sound. And I couldn't get it. I could never recreate it. Anyways, I took it to him to figure it out. And he doesn't generally work on other microphones other than Mojave or Royer, but he was interested in this because he had a couple other on his bench.
And they've just made their own version of one. Yeah.
Yeah. He said, Chris, you have the best sounding Sony C37 I've ever heard. And it inspired me to want to make one.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if he was already doing that research prior.
Right.
But it's why he accepted.
No, he said when we went and interviewed him that he never really liked them, and then he heard one that was really good.
Yeah. And he told
Yours is the mic.
He told me something really interesting about this, which I didn't know. David's a genius. That guy's, anybody that knows about microphones, David's one of them. You can't really distort this mic.
Wow.
Where like a U47, I've had them distort on a Singer.
Right.
It doesn't have the best SPL handling noise. Like, it can break up with a loud Singer or something. So these are the kind of things that are just good to know, where if you're having an issue, like if that's happening, it's like, oh, I'm going to put or you're working with a loud Singer or something, I would put this in front of them before a 47, just to be safe.
But they have a very unique sound, though.
Very unique, yeah. Like, it's kind of like a condenser and a ribbon mixed together, like a tube mic, like a 47 and a Coles. If they had a baby, this is what it would sound like.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, but it takes, EQ well. It's just a great mic.
What is this?
I don't know. It doesn't work. Oh. I know that much.
But it looks good.
Yeah, it looks cool. That's for when vidiots come over.
Oh, like us, and say,
they're
what's
like,
that?
do you have any cool microphones? Like, yeah, here, you can play with this one.
It looks great.
People like these when you're filming, to put them around or whatever.
Ah, I see, yeah.
So that's why it's out.
It looks like it could have come from like a Jetsons TV show.
Yeah.
Some kind of like 50s space age thing.
It looks like it would be great on snare drum.
Yeah.
An acoustic guitar.
And in videos.
It probably is.
Like this.
And in videos.
So keys, I think you had the Wellington piano here
Yeah, the
before.
Wellington's been here. What's there? This is the Behringer vocoder.
Is that any good?
I like it. I mean, you got to have a vocoder.
Yeah, and why buy one that costs an absolute fortune if you can get one from
Exactly.
Behringer?
I've used it twice.
So it was worth the investment.
Yeah, it's like buying a pedal or something,
Yeah.
It's like you don't use it every day, but if someone needs to use it, there it is.
Organ strings, RS09. Where'd you get this?
That thing's cool. Oh, man, I don't remember where I bought that. I've had that a long time. That's a 2-trick pony.
Oh, at least you got 2 out of it.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Krumar, but different. It does organ and string sounds.
I tell people we used to have a Moog Opus. Opus 1.
Oh, yeah.
And it had like one good sound on it. But it was really good for that one good sound.
One-trick pony. Sub-fatty. Classic.
Beautiful Rhodes, 73.
Yeah.
Arp Solus. Tell me about this.
That I just got like last week.
I don't know anything about it.
My friend Stefan brought it over on a session he was producing. It was set up in the control room, and I started playing it, and I was just like, I couldn't not play it anymore. I was like, can we cancel the session? I just want to make my own music now, you know? Wow. So that's, you know, anytime I play an instrument that inspires creativity, you know, that's the kind of things I'm generally looking for. So I found one online and bought it.
Beautiful. Oh, another 73, but the stage piano.
Yeah, funny story about this. Somebody traded me a session for it, and I was like, oh, I'll just sell it. I already have a Rhodes. Yeah. They sound so different that I couldn't. I was like, how could you choose?
Beautiful.
They're very different sounding.
Now you have both. Yeah. All right, what's this silly thing?
This is the Blue Man Group keyboard.
The Blue Man Group.
Which also came from John Bryan, of course. I think the batteries are dead because the downside of this is people turn it on and then they don't turn it off.
Right.
And then when I go to use it,
all the batteries are dead.
Batteries are dead, yep. It's funny. It's just like funny toy sounds. And this is like some sort of laser drums. Like, you know.
What do they do? They sell these at the shows in Vegas or something? Like, where would you get
This is from Toys R Us, I think, actually. I used it on a session once where the drummer had this. What I did is I hooked up a guitar amp out there, and I laid it next to his foot, and I mic'd it with a 57, and I put this on a stool, and when he wanted to hit the snare, he just went, and it came out of the amp, so it was in the room with everyone, and it was like a cool, like, alternate snare sound.
Fantastic.
Kind of like a SPD drum, but acoustic version of it. Isn't that cool?
I love it. Yeah.
64 keys.
Oh, I'm so envious.
Everybody wants that thing.
Yeah, because my daughter's 7. That'd be great in her room.
I know. I thought maybe someone should make more of these, but I don't know.
One.
Just kidding.
Eric's like, yes, lock him in.
He'll never come out.
He'll never come out. Wow. So do you build this completely on your own?
Yeah.
Eric, you've got to come in. Eric, do you have a light on that?
This is what we got.
All right, I'm gonna squeeze past you. One, two.
It's like the perfect bathroom reverb. It's not as long as it seems like it would be, the decay time.
Right.
But it's a great early reflection.
Hello. So anyway, Eric, call us when you feel hungry, okay?
Sometimes I tell people that's the bathroom.
Tell us when you're still hungry, okay? Take a nap, okay? Bye. Just kidding.
You can come out when you finish the video. Yeah, keep the plate back there too.
Nice. Do you know one of 6 hiding up here?
Yeah.
And then you got a lot of great guitars.
A lot of cool ones.
I remember this from before, I think.
Yeah.
What is this again? What's this design?
That's my friend Eric painted that. It was just like a Mexican Stratocaster. It was a sunburst, and I don't know. I liked his art, and I just gave it to him, and he painted that for me.
That's fantastic. Lovely. And then Silvertone.
Yeah, great guitar.
Do you have it with the suitcase?
I don't know. I wish. But I really love that. That's actually a very great sounding guitar. It's probably those pickups.
The lipstick pickups, yeah.
I don't know if this was here. It probably was here last time. Little Music Master.
Lovely, yeah.
I think I'm going to switch that to flat wounds.
It's a good idea. Oh, what is that?
Schaefer. It's like a toy Sears guitar. This thing is awesome, actually. This thing, through the whammy pedal, octave down, is a great bass sound.
Really?
Believe it or not. Probably because how loose the tension is and it's short scale.
Yeah.
It's like super fat and subby, and it's like...
Wonderful.
Yeah, cool sound. Les Paul. I don't know what these models... Geez, look how dusty everything is.
That's all right. It's a special. Yeah, Les Paul special.
Les Paul
P90s. Yeah.
I call it the Bob Marley guitar.
Yeah, it does look like the Bob Marley guitar.
That thing's killing. Telly.
Lovely.
Yeah, this is great. This gets used a lot.
I can imagine. And then there's more guitars in here. I have to step over the lamp. Every studio should have at least one 4-string classical guitar.
I know. Yeah, some of these need a re-stringing.
Chet Atkins.
Yeah,
I remember those well.
that's Rufus's actually.
Oh, it is.
Just live classical guitar. Old P bass.
Flats?
Yeah,
Flats.
I think sounds so good.
Which one? Is
J40.
J40. I've got to see this.
That thing's great.
Oh, look how light it is. Yeah, it's lovely.
Nice, huh?
Yeah, very nice.
It's funny, you can always tell like which guitars will record well. Like,
Yeah.
When I just heard that, I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's just not boomy, isn't it?
Exactly.
You can tell you just put a mic on it and it's all done for you.
Yeah. Alvarez, that's what is it? The Yari Alvarez.
It's gorgeous. This is like, oh, I love this.
I love that thing.
It's a work of art. So beautiful looking. Ooh. Oh, yeah.
Big fat bass sound. Those basses, if you play them like light and play them near the neck,
Right.
you know, you get a really like Family Man kind of sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks dope. We care about looks, not sound. Just kidding.
No, this is absolutely beautiful.
3-string bass.
Oh, wow. Is it a Mosrite? What is it? A
don't know.
Mosrite? A Royal?
That belonged to like this country bass player that had that for a long time. That thing I kind of put together. Somebody made the body, but it's an old neck.
Wow, I like it. Taylor.
Taylor.
I mean, do you track with it, or was it mainly for
you know
live?
what? Rufus gave that to me. Somebody gave it to him, and then he gave it to me.
Nice. Hey,
That's my first acoustic.
Washburn, is it?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't record those at all. Just have them.
It's lovely to have.
Those are kind of the guitars that get pulled out when people are trying to, go over something. They want to go in the kitchen or...
Yeah,
Excuse this mess over here. This is not what this is supposed to look like, but it is the way it looks like right now.
What's that? You got a whole bunch of channels of Chandler there.
It's a Chandler mini mixer, which is for sale. That belongs to Caesar from Los Lobos. And he doesn't have a need for it. And he's trying to get me to sell it for him, but I'm terrible at selling things.
Yeah,
Please,
but if
buy
you
it.
want to buy it. So did he have 2 racks then? Because this is 1, 3, 15. There should be a 2 through 60.
Yeah, it's weird how they do it
Oh,
at the
I
bottom
see.
like that. Yeah.
Move this out of the way. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's 1, 2. I see how.
Oh, how embarrassing.
That's amazing.
Some people got their porn hidden under the seat. And
you've got an
I
MCI.
got a tape machine schematic. Yeah, it's got pan, volume, and like a little bit of a control room situation.
Have you tried like just summing a mixer?
Summing sounds great. I've only used the summing section of this, which I almost bought it, but I'm making a custom one right now. So if I wasn't, I would have bought this thing because it sounds great.
I mean, how much is this worth? What would it go for?
It's like 8,000 probably used.
Yeah.
I think they're about 10 new.
Well,
But
and then,
that thing's just used for its funky spring reverb that it has in it.
yeah,
This was like a Studio B,
yeah.
and it's also the hallway to the kitchen. And so what it usually gets used for is I put guitar amps in here.
Right.
It's another ISO basically, and has become my workbench, which, is temporary.
Got a dual turntable over there.
Yeah, a little turntable.
We can just poke our heads quickly in and have a quick look at the kitchen.
Yeah.
Nice and airy with the skylight
Yeah.
above. And then you've got rooms out there that you're subletting.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they're here right now, but
How many tenants do you have?
there's two. There's one tenant, and then Scotty, who is my partner here, has a room. But
Oh wow, I love these big old doors.
I don't know if anyone's in there. Let me see. Secret code. No.
And is there a way to get in from there as well?
Yeah, the same. So when people come here for like more than one day to record,
Yeah.
I open the opposite door they came in the day before, just to throw them off. So they never quite get it right. They're like, wait, was it the other door? I'm like, no, you're wrong.
Wow.
Oh, there's Scotty. Scotty's my partner at the studio there. Yo.
Yeah.
Can we pop in your room for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Just doing a little studio tour.
Hey, how's it going?
Warren, this is Scotty.
Nice to meet you.
Eric.
That's Eric.
Hi, Eric. Good to meet you.
It's cracking.
Not much. Just getting in from doing a little organ tuning.
Organ tuning.
Yeah, with the big pipe organs.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he works on like, where you at, First Congregation?
Yeah.
You have you ever been there?
No.
On 6th Street, or is it 6th Street?
Oh wow, what a great room.
Thank you. My little lab that I run in here.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a little dark in here right
Ooh,
now.
it feels good.
Trying to get some lighting going. I
No, it's beautiful.
appreciate it.
Oh, we have these same focales in our little room. Yeah.
Those are nice.
Yeah, I'm really starting to enjoy them.
Yeah.
So control room time.
Yep. Remember it?
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to think what else you got is new. And I think when I saw you the other day when we were filming, it was the PMCs, wasn't it? You didn't have PMCs before.
No, I didn't when you got here. Yeah, I love these. The 226s, I think this is the first. There's two versions of them, but this is the first. I took all the other speakers down. I have this Oratone, which is in mono, and then these Bose, which they don't sound great, which is why I have them.
Right.
I know they're Bose, but they just don't sound great. But I'm not switching between monitors. I'm checking on these things for
everything.
Yeah. And even recently when I was at Capitol, they have PMCs in there.
Yep, they do.
In the soffit mount, and then also they had 228s up. And I listened to 228s, and I actually asked for them to bring the 226s in there. Really, the smaller ones? And I'm like, I just hear the mid-range really well in these things, and
Right.
the first time I heard these, it was just like the best thing I could imagine was a frequency chart from top to bottom, 20 to 20 or something. It was just like, maybe not all the way down to 20, but there was no holes.
Great.
It was like the first pair of speakers I heard where I felt like, oh, well, everything's being shown to me. And it kind of freaked me out. And then I started thinking like, well, what was I doing before? You make it work and you learn speakers, but it's better if everything's, it's more efficient if you're hearing what you're hearing, and you can decide what you want to do. So I love these things.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Maurice hooked me up too. I blew these things 2 days in a row, and the cones were stuck out straight. And I remember it was a holiday because he drove down to the warehouse and met me there and gave me his last woofer. And then the next day it blew again. He's like, wait a second, and sent Rory O'Flattery out, who I now use for pretty much most of my mastering work. But he was working for PMC at the time. And he came out just to measure my system, and I thought I had to pay them, and they came out, and I'm trying to offer to pay Rory for his time. He's like, no, I work for PMC, and I was like, wow. I mean, in this kind of business, especially something like that,
Sure.
I was in the middle of mixing a record, and I was like, I'm screwed. Like, what do I do?
And what caused the problem?
What caused it was I was using this Alesis Nanoverb, and I was running that sub-fatty through it and clipping it. And it was distorting in a really cool way. But I think what was actually happening, it created a really super low harmonic that went past the filters in these things and the protection, and it just damaged something.
Oh, wow.
That's what we think happened.
That hasn't happened since.
No, it never happened.
And you haven't
again.
clipped that since. So
No, I stopped doing that.
yeah, there you go.
Stupid trick. Use something else for that. Yeah, it was a very strange problem because they were like, no one's ever done this before.
No, I've never heard of that before either.
We couldn't figure out.
You're the one. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was not a fun experiment. But yeah, I mean, how cool for them to come and
It's amazing.
I mean, that really meant a lot to me. I'm a fan ever since. So, and they sound fantastic. So,
great.
Those are new. What else? Tape. That thing was in there. That's the controller for the MCI tape machine.
Great. When did you get the MCI?
I got it during COVID, during
Amazing.
the pandemic. I traded this guy. I had that Shadow Hills mastering compressor I had. I traded him for this and the Ampex 8-track.
You got both of them?
I got both.
Wow, for a Shadow Hills.
He wanted to only do this one, but he was moving, and he was going to bring that to Florida with him.
Yeah.
And his wife was like, no. Give it to the guy that's going to use it,
That's a deal.
And funny thing enough about this is I was working on it. This at the moment it's not working because I'm just restoring all the cards.
Yeah.
I just finished recapping them, and we open this up, and there's a little CBS record sign here, and I come to find out my friends Sammy and Charlene, who used to work for AEA. Yeah. This was their tape machine.
Oh wow.
Because we have the same tech, our friend Nathan, that works on this. So now I know a lot. The guy that traded me this lied to me about this. He told me a whole nother story, like that the original owner he got it from was a classical pianist and had never left the house. And and then I turned to find out this was actually my friends. And so now I actually feel better because they did a bunch of work inside.
Oh, okay.
And they know this thing intimately. And it's just.
But when you come to sell it, you'll be like, yeah, it's this classical piano player.
Original owner.
No cigarette smoke, original owner, brand new.
I'm just naive and like, oh, great, that sounds wonderful,
So
it works.
The best case scenario, classical piano player.
Yeah.
Not just like a guy who plays piano. Like, oh no, this guy, you have no idea.
Yeah, Shane Carr, who rents that other room, he's a clarinet player. It's like the other person that wanted it was a metal drummer.
Yeah.
You know who I went with. We'll take the clarinet player.
Clarinet player, yeah.
But yeah, this thing's so cool. It's really.
Congrats.
These have a tendency of having intermittent issues.
Huh.
So I'm just doing all of that stuff right now. That's problematic. So I don't want this thing to be failing while I'm working.
There's so many of my favorite records were made on these. So
yeah,
I'm excited for you to get this up and running.
Workhorse. Yeah, I had used it a bunch before, just in mixes and stuff. But I had channels dropping out, and I was like, okay, let's just overhaul it. But yeah, the Ampex 8-track, that thing's.
That's a work of art. That's a piece of history.
Yeah, this thing's amazing and works great and sounds incredible. Someone had already redone all these cards, so it's like these things are all Gucci. And they added transformers on here, so there's like 3 sets of transformers in one channel.
Wow.
In and out. So yeah, this thing, I got lucky on this one.
Adjustable record level on each.
What's crazy about this machine I dislike is the motor spins so fast.
Right.
That I feel like it could take a finger off, It's like you have to brake it too before you can't just hit stop. You have to kind of go the opposite direction and slow it down, and it really gets going, I'm like, that might be a little unnecessary, but I snapped the tape a couple days ago because I didn't do that, and I hit stop, and it was so abrupt that it got caught in here and started tangling and snapped.
Oh wow!
So luckily. It was nothing.
And what is it? Is it 7.5 and 15 or 15 and 30?
I believe 7 or 15 and 30.
I don't think it says.
It doesn't say, but I think you can change it. But this is 15 and 30. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think it's 7.5 though. That's for sure.
It's a beautiful work of art.
It's not for sure, actually.
Yeah.
I just said I don't know.
Do you know what year it is?
I don't know. This was, what's interesting is you've heard this machine with that console on the Amy Winehouse record. This was what was that group called? The horn group that plays with her?
I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
They have this studio in Brooklyn or somewhere like that. And they're this cool horn group, and Mark Ronson used them a lot and everything. But this was their sound, this thing with that Trident console. With
the Series 65?
Yep.
Speaking of which, let's go and look at that.
Probably won't get rid of this thing.
Was this your first main console?
It was, yeah. I don't really use it like a traditional console though. I'm only using the line amps as a summing mixer, or sometimes like I'll put notes on the faders. You know, like I made a loop of voices, the 10cc thing where you loop a bunch of voices. It could be anything, but anything that's like oscillating, and you can make chords, so you can swell into it and do cool things like that. And I don't know any other way of making that sound other than that.
Right.
It's not really an instrument that you can swell in and out like that with faders.
Incredible.
So I have a little template set up where I have that ready to go. So we could it's like a little keyboard at that point.
That's wonderful.
Or doing like, sometimes I'll work with like a reggae band and I'll use it as I will use the auxes and do like live dubbing while they're tracking and,
Great.
use those kind of things. But I have all these great preamps and EQs and things that,
So you're not using the pre's anymore?
I'm really not using it for that, no.
Now, I remember you had the Yamaha last time.
Yeah.
The M1000.
I don't know if I'll keep that. Sadly, I found out like 2 months ago, they just discontinued this console, and they're no longer writing USB drivers for the computer.
Oh.
So if you upgrade your operating system, it's kind of like you can still use it as a traditional console, but the remote DAW control is no longer going to be supported.
Oh, that's not good.
Sucks. So maybe I'll hire a programmer or something to write me a USB driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love this thing. It's really, I want something similar, but I don't know of anything else that works as an analog kind of routing station. I do all my headphone mixes. I route this to my effects. If I want to send drums into this like guitar pedals or whatever, or the Space Echo, Eventide, any of these things, I'm doing it from here.
Right.
And I have EQ, I can do pre-delays, I can do all this stuff. And it does DAW control and all my speaker switching and management. I can turn my sub on and off, and I don't really know of anything else that can do all of those functions. And it's a big part of my workflow, so I've been pondering it for a while.
Didn't Ed Cherney use one? Was it this or the bigger version?
Probably, the 2000.
Yeah.
It's so great, and it does surround. It's just a solid workhorse.
But that sucks, they're not going to support it.
Yeah. And I use Cubase, and Steinberg is owned by Yamaha. It's just a real bummer that they're not working that out, Are
they going to bring out a new model, though?
I don't think there's a big use for it. It's just such a small, the market for this is who? Like, this came from, CBS or something, they were using it in a room like that, but I don't really know what the market is. My use for it is they're not going to make it for me, that's for sure.
For you only.
Yeah, I guess I'll have something like this, and then something that just does faders, which will look cool. I have a lot of faders around here.
Wow.
Spacey.
What are the pre's over there at the top?
These are Electrodyne 501s.
Ah.
I had 2 of them and I bought 6 more, and honestly I want more. I'm thinking about just getting a whole rack of them,
Incredible.
Yeah, just almost, like a console's worth or something.
La Chapelle.
Those are great. Tube pre's with the EQ in them.
And there's the Voice of God you were talking about earlier.
Yep. So that's what I use on. I use it on bass yesterday, but pretty rarely I do that. But really good for finding the resonant note of the drum.
Yeah.
You can sweep it like this with I put the amplitude all the way up.
Yeah.
So you really get an exaggerated version of it. You find the resonant tone and then take it out and then just start bringing it up to taste.
Right.
I usually actually use it full because I'm using that mic as my sub-kit kind of sound. It's just, that's what its role is, just that information.
Nice.
And that's a very sweet.
I have one. We haven't used it like that. I should probably
try
that out. What's that sitting to the right? Is that a Neve?
That's the Neve 1073.
It looks like a different blue.
It does. I've had that thing for a while. Maybe they've changed it.
Yep. And then 2 more of the Electrodynes, another La Chapelle. What are the red ones? Oh, Chandler's.
Chandler Little Devils. Those are cool, although I don't ever use them. I don't know why. I think I might sell them. I forget to use them.
What sort of characteristic?
Honestly, that's probably kind of the issue. You know what I think of when I think of those compressors? Mm-hmm. Renaissance compressor by Waves. It just like does what you want it to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have a sound.
Yeah, I've been using the Renaissance. I still go to that first almost every time. Yeah,
it's great when you want it to do just that.
Just compress. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was using it in tracking situations. Especially love it because it has a mix knob or whatever for tracking. But I just always forget to use them for some reason.
Are those the AEA mic pre's?
Yep.
So you use those on the ribbons?
Yeah, pretty much exclusively.
Great.
Especially if I'm recording, low level instruments or something with a ribbon, something where I need, a better gain structure. They work on other mics too, but I just kind of save them usually for that,
I'm looking at your effects here. I love, obviously the TC is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Nanoverb we were just talking about, but the ADA.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had this first, the Junior.
Oh wow, yeah, the Junior over here.
And then I heard about this one.
Yeah.
Which they're very different. This one's actually using it more for like a flange kind of. I forgot who uses this, Conan Moccasin or somebody like made it popular again. Don't buy them. They suck.
No, buy them and then give them to me. Send them over to me.
Inspect them first.
Yes. Yeah.
If you do buy them. And then this is the Ibanez. This one's so crazy. It's so dark. It's unbelievable. Wow. Great. Just kind of. These things are all. What they all have in common is they're 12-bit.
Oh, 12-bit. Wow.
So just think about that.
Yeah.
Think about why you would want 12-bit, or why you wouldn't.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, no, with effects, generally, it's nice to have,
Is this your patch bay? Did you build this yourself?
Someone made this. This is a 6 Langevin.
Oh, it is? Is that what it is?
Or the I can never remember if the AM10s or AM16. But they're pulled out of a console, and someone made this rack, and that's just how they're racked up.
Do you use them?
Yeah, I use them on drums. Great drum pre's. If I'm not using these, these are a little more vintagey feeling, like they're maybe a little more round on the top end,
Right.
But yeah, those Altec Coke bottles just stay right here.
Great. And of course the Space Echo, which we didn't mean to skip over.
Yeah. These things are up here because I like to use them while I'm, actually we did a little bit on the Mentors video. I did the Space Echo and this delay at the same time.
Wonderful.
And that's why they're close. So you can get your hands on it and, do it in real time.
I see you've got a pair of 601s.
Yeah, those are great.
Any particular thing you love them on?
On guitars in particular, I would say electric guitar. But they also sound really cool like on room mics and stuff, like drum room mics. They break up cool on drums. I'm not sure I love the break up on everything. Like I know some people like putting keyboards through them, but I really like them on electric guitar. I think they kind of shine there.
What's this Telefunken looking thing up there?
This thing.
Because it does look like a Telefunken. It looks like it's pulled out of an old EMI desk.
This is a Hungarian version by this company, EAG. So I don't know what at that time, if they were all copying each other or if it was different licensing or if, different ownership at that one point. But this is a line amplifier anyways. So it doesn't have a ton of gain. It goes like plus 36. You could use this on a tube mic as a preamp, which I've done. I'm usually running bass through it in post, like for a mix or something, just because the transformers and tubes sound good.
And then compression-tastic. We've got a couple of DBX 160Xs. I love those things. Yeah. And of course, a DBX 160 VU. What's below there?
Those are DBX 902s, which are just de-essers. Supposedly those were Will Smith's. Pre-canceled Will Smith. No, just kidding.
Oh.
Yeah, 902.
902s, right.
I use these, like when I'm mixing, I'm generally running vocals through a hardware compressor before, before I start mixing or whatever, and I usually de-ess with these going in just a little bit, knocking some stuff down before it goes into the compressor. So those are great.
So are you mixing a lot hybrid?
Yeah, most of the time, I would say drums, bass, vocals. Certain things will always kind of get processed through some hardware or tape machine.
Are you processing and printing back in and using those?
Yeah.
So then you're mixing already processed stems?
Yeah,
tracks,
I'll use them as like you would as a piece of hardware, and I'll have them on the console and have like kind of the sound, a mix going, the sound that I want, and then once I'm like, I like this, I'll print it in.
Right.
And if I'm unsure of something, like if I do something aggressively, I'll maybe do a second pass, let me just do a more tame version where maybe in the chorus, if I don't want to come over and ride it or something, it's hitting too hard, and then I'll just comp.
Nice.
But I like to keep all the information stored in the computer, and I'm not ever dealing with recalling any of this.
Great idea. Those EQs are fantastic.
Oh yeah, this thing's great. I've actually been using this as the pre for the 47 overhead because of the Fairchild style compressor.
Yep.
It's like so good.
I remember for mixing bass, this is fantastic because you can just sit there and find the low end where it starts to breathe and go, there it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't tracked a vocal not going through this probably ever.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of like a LA2A, like I would say it's even more forgiving than an LA2A.
Really?
You can be like, you're tracking someone, you don't know what the dynamic range is going to be, and you're like, especially during like the pandemic and doing live, I was doing tons of these live stream mixes where bands were coming in here and doing like, Letterman, or whatever, all these late night shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was mixing them live. It's like, I was down, -20 at some point. I had no idea. And so you really can't hear it, It's like, but it's
That's incredible.
Doing what it's supposed to.
Then a couple of 1176s.
Yep. Black and silver.
Oh, V72s at the bottom. We have a pair of those. You've got 4.
Yeah. These were Caesars from Los Lobos as well. And I sold them to myself. The one piece of gear I've ever sold was to myself. I put the coals through these generally. That's what I'm using on the overheads. But yeah, they're massive.
What we got? What's the SSL?
You know what I really use this for is because of the inputs on the front, the 1/4-inch inputs. A lot of times I'm patching my effects and space echo and guitar pedals or synths that are in the room.
Yeah.
I'm using it for kind of, a control room, high Z input or whatever, instrument input.
So H3000.
Yeah.
That's
I love that thing.
Duck verb, it says.
Is that what's up?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
What's a duck verb?
It exactly does that. That's actually a brilliant patch. What it does is every time it's getting signal, you don't hear the reverb. It's ducking.
Duck reverb. Oh, I see what you mean.
And then as soon as the information, whatever the threshold information is coming in, disappears, you hear the tail only. So very good for if you have, chords that are close to each other, where your reverbs would be clustering or creating seconds or something, it gets out of the way.
And a pair of LA4As.
Yeah.
I remember when things were being given away like 20 years ago.
Those were given to me.
Oh, they were?
Not even that long ago.
Really?
Probably 15 years ago, actually.
Now people are like, those things are going.
People always said they didn't like these things, and I'm like, why?
Crazy. Best guitar sound, because there's a kind of
also
sound.
Great for room mics. I really like it on room mics. Yeah. Filter set.
Yeah, fantastic 565. Then last but no means least, we have a lot of compression over here as well, a lot more. Now I remember you had that Enervonics before, didn't you?
Yeah, I've had these before.
Those are great.
I still love them just as much as before.
And did you have the Tridents before?
Yeah, I had those too.
The Trident Pre's.
Yeah. These are great because they got a little filter in them. So I usually use these on hi-hat, toms.
Right.
Sometimes electric guitars too, if you want to take some rumble out.
Pair of Distresses.
Yep.
A Culture Vulture.
Yep.
Are you using the Culture Vulture much? Do you put it on anything in particular?
Yeah, it's funny. I also have the plug-in version, and I use it on the regular. Generally, I'm using this more in a tracking situation. Mm-hmm. Like as I'm going down, I'll run stuff through it, or or if I really want to mangle something, like when we're working, if I'm mixing something, I, really want to drive it crazy. I do feel like this does this better than plugins,
Right.
because it's, when you get into like pushing the limits, the hardware seems to always handle those things better than a plug-in version of it, especially with saturation, in my opinion.
Then the Chandler TG1, of course.
Yeah. Just put some drums through that yesterday, which always sounds great.
So drum bus.
I did yesterday, yeah. I did on a mix. I took the whole kit and I did a pass through the compressor, and then I did a pass with the limiter, and I blended those together.
And then
the gain rider.
I don't know what that is. Did you have that before?
I had it before. I don't know what the deal is with this thing. It's like definitely some small company that makes it.
Never seen it before.
I have this on the room mics.
Ah.
And all kinds. It's a very gentle tube compressor.
Yep.
Sounds really, it doesn't have like a ton of, rhythm to it, but nice harmonics.
Another pair of LA4s.
2 more.
And then I have one of those 436s.
Yeah. You like that thing?
I do. You haven't had it modded for the attack and release?
Stock. Yeah, I don't know. I know people do that, but did you?
Yeah, I had it done because it was done. That was the EMI thing. For
cool.
the Abbey Road thing was to have it modded.
Do you prefer it that way?
It's just nice to have some control over that, to say the least. But otherwise, you can just plug straight into the back of it and use it as a mic pre-compressor.
Yeah, I would love an output knob is what I would love.
Yeah.
It's so loud.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's those.
Yeah, so last but no means least, the ATR.
ATR 102. Also plug-in and real version.
Yeah.
Both are good.
Yeah.
I use both of them regular.
Is it the UAD one you use?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their stuff's so good. Yeah, they're different. Like anything, they're not the same, but they both have their purposes,
I mean, the machines can vary quite a bit, can't they? So when it's not the same, it could be because they modeled a different machine. Yeah.
What's cool I just got is this Vari-Speed for it. So,
oh, fantastic.
Oftentimes people want to do that with physical tape rather than, a program or something. And I never really had a way of doing it where, like, these aren't the machines you want to run your master mix through. Mm-hmm. This is more that. All the other Vari-Speeds I heard were, the sonic suffered too much. It was like, okay, this sound, I would change, the balances are different now, because of the sonic, of the tape machines, whereas this one's meant for mix down machines. So it's really the one to use if you're going to do something like that, And Wonderful. You can do fun tricks with it, record super slow, and then, so sometimes I'll just run drums through it or something. Yeah, this is great.
Or have the drummer play at a faster tempo and then slow it down so you just get that.
Exactly.
Nice.
Find like the half speed point or whatever. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff about tape I really like.
Yep.
The workflow of it previously, like I prefer working on a computer.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the effects and the things you can get out of tape they're so musical, and they're so, I see them as another instrument, another.
Right.
It's just as cool as this little guitar pedal. They're different.
I agree.
I
agree.
They all have their purpose. These are a little more expensive than the guitar pedal, but
yeah, a little bit. Unless you've got a Shadow Hills that you can
trade
swap for 2 tape machines.
Happy trade. Which we didn't talk about this. This is what I switched out for the Shadow Hills. This is the Giraffe Vari-Mu compressor. This thing's so good. It just sounds better on.
And you put this on your master bus?
Yep.
Leave it on the whole time?
Leave it on the whole time.
Amazing. Chris, thanks ever so much.
Yeah, pleasure. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, good to be seen. Yeah. Please leave any comments and questions below. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing, and thanks again.
See ya.
So long, farewell, la vie de zen, au revoir, adios.